Good morning, Bobby Freeman here. Welcome back, my friends. Today I bring you news of an employment tribunal here in the UK who have ruled that calling a man bald amounts to sexual harassment. Now, I have to tread kind of carefully here because it is a little bit of a sensitive area, because a lot of men, understandably, are quite sensitive about the fact they've lost their hair and they've gone bald. But I think I'm kind of well placed to comment on this because I myself, and I'm not actually bald yet, but I'm kind of on the way. It's in the post. I'm not far off. I've got an aggressively receding hairline. It's taking me longer and longer to wash my face every day. So let me give you some of the details of this story, okay? So this decision relates to a claim brought by a Mr. Tony Finn against the West Yorkshire-based British Bung Company. Now, I didn't know what that means either, but it's literally Bung, B-U-N-G. I looked them up and they make corks and rubber stoppers for the drinks industry. Now, Mr. Finn had worked at this place for 24 years as an electrician before he was fired in May 2021. And his complaint was that he was the victim of sexual harassment in the workplace. Now, straight away, I'm kind of thinking to myself, I'm not sure is there anything sexual about a head? Surely there's nothing sexual about a head, not in normal circumstances, and well, not that type of head anyway. But anyway, this is all due to comments made about his lack of hair, including being called, and I quote, a bald by factory supervisor Jamie King during an argument in 2019. Now, am I the only one here? I think they're kind of missing a point, because I think they're focusing on the wrong word here. All the emphasis has been focused on the word bald because someone's called him bald. What about the fact that someone's called him a I mean, if that was me, if someone says to me, you're bald, I go, well, you've got me there, I am, or at least half bald anyway. If someone calls me a I'll be like, hang on a minute, I'm taking more offence at that word than I am at the word bald. Describing the argument, Mr. Finn told the panel, I was working on a machine that I had to cover awaiting specialist repair. So I've never worked in a factory or with machines before, but that sounds to me like there's something wrong with the machine, he had to put a cover over it to indicate that there was something wrong with it. However, these covers were then taken off, and it was apparent that Jamie King, who's this supervisor, had done this. When I spoke to him about it, he began to call me a stupid bald and threatened to deck me. Again, I think we're focusing on the wrong thing here. I'd be more concerned about the threat of violence. If you don't know what the word deck, I think that's is that a UK word? I'm not sure. To deck someone is to basically punch them so they're sort of flat out on the deck, basically. So why is he not concerned about the fact that he's threatened to beat him up and administer physical violence on him? I don't know. But again, we've got the word stupid, we've got the word bald, we've got the word and a threat of violence. Again, the bald would be the very lowest on my priorities in this situation. The argument with Mr. King, who is 30 years younger than Mr. Finn, so this young whippersnapper has been having a go at this poor old fella, that makes it kind of even worse to me. I don't know, maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned. I was brought up to respect my elders and not go around calling them bald. But apparently it left the claimant, who is Mr. Finn, feeling, and I quote, fearful for my personal safety, which, again, understandable. I'd be fearful for my personal safety. I wouldn't be worried too much about the fact he's made a reference to the fact I've got no hair. The three-person tribunal, led by Judge Jonathan Brain, that's a good name for a judge, isn't it, was asked to rule whether calling someone bald is an insult or amounted to harassment. I would say it's just a statement of fact. Were it used on its own, I suppose. Coupled with the word I suppose that's probably more like harassment. Mr. Brain went on to say, in our judgment, I assume he has this sort of voice, in our judgment, there is a connection between the word bald on the one hand and the protected characteristic of sex on the other. Now, the company's lawyer was right to submit that women as well as men may be bald. And I was going to bring this point up as well. It's not just, surely if it's sexual harassment, it has to be specific to that sex. But women can be bald as well. Obviously, there's not as many bald women as there are bald men, but there are bald women out there. Just ask Chris Rock. However, as all three members of the tribunal will vouchsafe, baldness is much more prevalent in men. Okay, fair enough. According to the tribunal, the comments were made with the view of hurting Mr. Finn, which I would say you can't really argue about that. If you call someone a stupid bald I'd say your object to that statement was your goal of that statement was to hurt them, and I think it probably would. The tribunal therefore determines that by referring to the claimant as a bald I wonder if they actually said the word uncensored in the tribunal. I would love to have been there. It must have been amazing. By doing so, Mr. King's conduct was unwanted. It was a violation of the claimant's dignity. It created an intimidating environment for him and was done for the purpose, and it related to the claimant's sex. Well, this is where I disagree. I don't think it related to his sex. I just think it, I don't see how it could do. I don't see how it could do, because stupid, anyone can be stupid, any sex can be stupid. Bald, as we said, any sex can be bald, and any sex can also be Anyway, the panel upheld claims of sexual harassment, unfair dismissal and wrongful dismissal, but dismissed a claim of age discrimination. A date to determine the claimant's compensation will be set by the court. So it sounds like good old Mr. Finn is going to get a lovely old payout for this. And to be honest, rightly so. I think... my view here, I'm not sure if you can pin the sexual harassment thing. I kind of disagree with him on that. But whatever you say, it was harassment. It was extremely horrible, very nasty, and he sounds like a complete, well... So, I guess, what have we learned from this? Well, this is what I take from this. I take that when men go bald, if you're a man and you're going bald, much as I am, I would say don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just, you've started off with hair. Great, you've had a good few years with it. After a while, do you really need it? Is it really doing the job? I think, men have the lucky ability that they can just sort of shave it off and look kind of look like Jason Statham, well, in an ideal situation. So I say just embrace the baldness. When it happens, it happens. Don't be getting all that tattooed head thing or anything. Don't be wearing a wig. There's no need. Shave it. Once you get to, I'm getting to the point almost. I'm hanging on to it a little bit longer. My nephew said to me the other day, oh, I like how half your hair's missing. I'm like, thanks for that. But I'm almost there. I'm almost at the point. When it gets to halfway, mind you, I've got to think I might be almost there. But when it gets a little bit further, I'll just shave it off. I've done it in the past before. I was in a TV commercial. I had to shave it completely bald. And I was bald for a while. I love it. It's maintenance free, you don't have to worry about it getting messed up. Just give it a little polish every now and then, you get up and you go. It's brilliant. So my message here and my sort of, what I take from the story is, don't be worried, guys. Don't be conscious if you are bald, just embrace it. But to people who start calling someone a bald don't be doing that either, because it's not nice. Right then, next up is how the local councils here in the UK are determined to ruin all the street parties that people have arranged to celebrate the Diamond Jubilee of our Queen. And you might be wondering to yourselves, why are they doing that, or how are they doing that? Well, I shall tell you, it's our good old friends bureaucracy and red tape, which are extremely good friends of, it seems, of local councils here in the UK. So let me give you a bit of background and context to this. If you don't know what's going on, it's our Queen Elizabeth, our Queen of England. She is celebrating, or we're all celebrating, 70 years on the throne, which is the longest reign of any living or dead, any monarch throughout history, which, as I'm sure you'll agree, is a pretty significant event, and rightly so. A lot of people here in the UK, not everybody, but most people, want to celebrate it, and we like to do it in a good old-fashioned British way of having a nice little street party on or various streets throughout the United Kingdom. However, as I say, the councils have descended upon this with an absolute deluge, something like, I think you know what I mean. A huge amount, that's a bit simpler, a huge amount of rules and regulations and stipulations that people are going to have to adhere to. And it's just an absolute example of what is wrong with this world in this day and age that we live in, as much as that makes me sound like a miserable old man. So let me read you a bit of the article here. So street parties are being arranged across the country for a 4-day bank holiday weekend starting on June the 2nd to mark Her Majesty's 70 years on the throne. However, in many areas, the petty bureaucracy of councils has frustrated people's plans. In some cases, bunting has been banned from lampposts and organisers are being made to fill out counter-terrorism forms. The Levelling Up Secretary, Michael Gove. Now, Levelling Up Secretary, I've no idea what that means, but it is a very important job in the British government, whatever it is, has written to every local council to urge them to cut the red tape and be completely flexible over road closures. So there's a slight grain of sanity from the government there for once. So here we go. Here's a great example straight away. Organisers in Bournemouth were told that they were not allowed to put bunting on lampposts because they were not designed for this purpose. Of course they're not, but that doesn't mean you can't use them for that purpose. I mean, some of the public telephone boxes here in the UK weren't designed to be pissed in by drunk people, but it doesn't stop them from being used for that purpose. Other examples of Jubilee red tape included pensioner Gloria Odell being sent Get this, being sent 23 pages of forms when she tried to organise a small party in Hemel Hempstead. Can you imagine 23 pages just to be able to have a street party? By the way, if you don't really know sort of how the concept works of a street party here in the UK, it's very, very simple. Just a few tables get put up with some cakes on them and some flags get waved and people sit round and drink tea. However, that didn't stop the council in Hemel Hempstead demanding a counter-terrorism plan, a security plan, and a severe weather management plan, as well as a COVID risk assessment. Seriously, a counter-terrorism plan. It's a few ladies and a few men, a few children, stood around drinking tea, maybe eating some cake. But no, Hemel Hempstead, they think we need to get Jack Bauer in to keep an eye on the situation. And a security plan. I mean, I don't even know what a security plan would look like in the context of some people drinking tea in the street. I can't imagine you're going to get many people getting out of control and causing fights. But this is my favourite one, the Extreme Weather Management Plan. Now I can tell you, I don't know if you've ever been to the UK, but I'll tell you right now, we don't have extreme weather, okay? It does not exist in this country. The worst that could happen would be, I don't know, it started drizzling and the scones got slightly wet, or there might be a slight gust of wind and one of the tablecloths would flap up a little bit and the sandwich might fall onto the road. The 70-year-old Mrs. O'Dell said that the deluge of nonsense protocols forced her to abandon the event on June the 5th, which was only for 15 houses on her street and was going to raise money for the local hospice. Brilliant, well done Hemel Hempstead Council. In Mr. Gove's constituency, this is the guy who's the Levelling Up secretary, party holders were told to hold risk assessments. Now, let me tell you something about risk assessments. I've never done a risk assessment in my life. I don't think we need risk assessments. I think they are utterly pointless. In fact, let me tell you, if anyone ever asked me to do a risk assessment, they'd have to do a risk assessment on the risk of me kicking them up the arse and chucking them out the building. Party organisers have also been told to ensure that there is an adult near barbecues and cooking equipment at all times. Oh, of course, yes. Thank God Surrey Council recommended that because we were planning to get the kids to do all the cooking on the barbecue. Thank goodness they warned us. Also on the Isle of Wight, organisers were told to pay for a traffic management company to draw up plans for an event. Oh my God, seriously, a traffic management company drawing up some plans. What would that plan even look like? Here's the plan. You close the street that end, you close the street that end, and you don't let any cars in. Done. That's £10,000, please. Honestly, if we seriously got ourselves in that situation in this country where we have to go through all this nonsense just to be able to put a few tables out in the street and have a cup of tea. Can you imagine what the Christmas parties must be like for these council workers? Everyone just sat around, sitting on their hands like this, terrified, not moving, just in case they do something dangerous. Here's an idea, okay? Here's an idea. How about, for once, the council just get together and say, you know what? Why don't, just this once, we don't worry about all the red tape. We don't worry about the bureaucracy, and we just let people have a nice time, have a nice cup of tea and a cake in the street. What would be so wrong with that? I think the world would be a much better place, especially if they stop people pissing in those phone boxes. So guys, thank you very much for watching my show today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If indeed you have, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and smash the like button as well on this video. But until next time guys, I'm Bobby Freeman. Stay safe.